as promised, I'm going to show you around my Proton Pack. Now, I built this in lockdown. I'm a massive Ghostbusters fan of the first film, that is. I'm going to get hugely into detail on that. But, yeah. I decided during lockdown that the time was right. I was always going to do it. I've always threatened to do it anyway. But there it is. So I've got a few plans in store going forward to mod the Proton Pack. But that's internal stuff. It's going to be to do with the speakers and so on. And the lights. But before we started that, I thought it'd be worth a short video, show everyone around it. So here it is. Now I started it, like I said, early 2020. And the first thing I did was the motherboard here. And that still remains my one biggest mistake with the whole thing. Reason being, I've used quite a few car parts on this, believe it or not, which I've remodeled, repurposed and so on, because being a mechanic, I had lots of stuff lying around. And I also had a sheet of 2mm thick mild steel lying around. So I thought, that'll be a good place to start. Get the motherboard stenciled out and then cut it out to shape and then go from there. But that's the one thing that really needs to change with this pack, because it's extremely heavy. Very, very heavy. So I'm going to be changing that out at some point for aluminium motherboard. Either I'll get a sheet of aluminium and cut my own, or depending on the cost, I'll get one from Benekent Props. So like I said earlier, I've done a few, I've used a few different car parts that were lying around. For instance, the end filter here is actually an oil filter from a Renault Clio, an unused one obviously, where I've drilled holes in it to match, and then I've got some wood and I've cut out a cover of the same diameter to make it look flat at the top rather than the rounded top edge of an oil filter. And these sort of things stem across the pack itself. For instance, on the Neutrona wand, and it is Neutrona wand, it's not Neutrino wand. This year, that's a timing lock key for a Sigma engine off a Ford Fiesta. This is another timing lock key, which I've cut down and used. So there's bits and bobs everywhere. Like these banjo fittings here. They were actually hexagonal, so I've flattened them down with a flap disc on an angle grinder. I've put a screw in the top but then cut the head off so it's flat. And I've drilled holes here and put the screws in the sides to make it look authentic. So the way this one works is I've got an Adafruit board inside running with an aux cable to a Bluetooth speaker, which is switched permanently on. Now that's something I'm going to mod. That's one of the videos that are going to be coming up of me changing that setup, so to speak. But it works and it's effective. So the way it works is I plug in a power pack here, one to power the Adafruit, one to power the Bluetooth speaker. The lights themselves, so you got the cyclotron lights, the graph, the bar light here, and the Neutrona wand lights, all run off a 9-volt battery sat in here. So the wires run down through here into the pack. So I'm going to switch it on in a second. To fire it up, we've got a couple of switches here. Now the way I've set it up, my Adafruit board keeps looping and I haven't found a way around it yet, so I've had to run the sound to a separate switch and then switch it on, switch it off to stop it looping again. Here's the lights. Here's to activate the neutrona wand, and then that's the fire. So to give you an example of just the lights, and then if I activate the gun inside, there we are, and then pressing fire alters there, but then you've also got the tip of the wand flashing, and they actually did this in the film, and that's so the special effects department could sync the animations of the streams up to when the Ghostbusters should be firing. So if I show the old thing, these resistors are actually genuine resistors. They should be painted black, but I like the contrast. Even though the colour's not accurate, I like it, so I kept it. Now, this is a bit of a mix and match between Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. Now, it's always meant to be a GB1 pack, and you can tell that by the fact that the neutrona wand sits parallel with the pack rather than on the sequel. They angled it forward so it was easier for them to grab. But this ribbon cable here, that's Ghostbusters 2. Now, the reason it's Ghostbusters 2 is at the time it was almost impossible to find a GB1 ribbon cable. I don't know if that's changed now in the 6 years since, but I will have a look, and if I can get my hands on one, I will change it. This is metal, this bump shock by here. This is 3D printed plastic. So yeah, that's my Proton Pack. Now, these normally have an Alice frame, and I haven't got an Alice frame. What I have got this year is a firefighter's. That's where they would hold the either the oxygen tank or whatever they were using to fight the fire, usually an oxygen tank, I think, on their back. And I was given this by a friend who used to be a fireman, but still had, contacts in the fire department. They gave me 2 of these, so I've got 1 spare, but that's how I mount it. So again, not accurate, but it works great. And here's the trap. Now, this is a Walmart trap, which I have modded to look more authentic. It does work, but the pedal itself, that's completely homemade by me, and is pretty accurate, to be fair. So there's my pack. Just a short introduction before you see a couple of videos of it being modded, but I thought it was worth a look. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Ta-da!